So if you see a 2 surrounded by two ones, obviously you cannot put two bridges going to the other two because you form an island. That is wrong. So the maximum number you can have is 1 right here, but you don't know where the other one goes. And if you put a 0, that means it's also wrong because you form another island. So in this case, all you can do is put a single line. This only works if you have a 2 on the edge that is surrounded by 1s and another number. If you see a 3 surrounded by 1s, this is a maybe, this is a maybe, but this is always a sure. So you can have at least one line here. You don't know if it's 2 lines here, 1 line there, or 1 line there. But you know that there is at least 1 line. You could ignore the 1s in each direction and just leave this 1 line over here. So whenever you see a 3 with a 1, 2, and other large number, you can just connect straight to the larger number right away. If you start from the 1 and you make this into a 1, you cannot put 2 up here because then it would be wrong. So you're always left with 1 line going to the right. But if you make this to a 0, you're always going to have at least 1 line going left or right. And either way, this is always going to be true. That is why a 3 with a 1, 2, and other number is always going to have that line with the other number, as long as this other number is larger than a 1. Having 2 lines going down and 1 to the side, connecting to the 3. Another way is if you have 1 line here, you're only a maximum of 1 line from 3 to 1. So this means the other line has to be over here. Or it could be 2 lines, but we wouldn't know until we have more examples and hints from the puzzle. And if you make this into a 0, you're only left with these. And no matter what, you're always going to have a single line going to the large number. And it's the same example up here. You could think of it as a mirror. If this 2 is connected to some other unknown number, so you could actually treat this as a 1. And because of this logic, the 3 is surrounded by 1, so you can just connect straight to the large number. Alright, with the logic with the 3, with the 1, 2, and other number, you can see that this is the only possible way. So you can easily put 1 line here, and the other lines you wouldn't know until later. And again, I have another 3 on the edge with the 1, 2, and other number. So I can connect the other number first. And over here, there's another 3. Well, this 4 has to connect to this 2, so you could treat this like a 1. So you have a 1, 2, and something else. You can always connect to the large number, and this 1 is isolated, so you could just connect that. This 3 becomes a corner, and you could just finish off the puzzle from here. Alright, so if you have a 4 on the edge, and you have a 1, you could think about it like this, where the maximum you can have is 1 line going this direction, meaning you would have at least 1 line in the other 2 directions. Even if you have 2 lines in each of these directions and 0 over here, you're always going to have 1 going to the other 2 numbers except the 1. So if you ever see a 4 surrounded by 3 numbers and you see a 1, you can automatically skip the 1 and put a line on the other numbers. So if you force a 0 lines going in any direction, if you force 0 lines going to the right, you have 2 lines going up, 2 lines going left, and that would also be wrong because you form an island, excluding out this 2. So this means no matter what, it has to be greater than 0 bridges. So what you could do is you could safely put 1 line everywhere if a 4 is surrounded by 2s. If a 4 is on the edge and it is surrounded by 1s, you can pretty much mark everything, all the 1s and the large number. Because no matter what you do, the maximum number you can put on the left side is 1 line, the right side is also 1 line, and you're left with 2 lines. So this is always true. Alright, so if you come across this where you have a 4 already connecting upward, and you only have 1 line, well, you have 2 lines left. And when you have 2 lines left, there are 2 ways. You could either have 1 line going to the 3, the other one going to the 1, or you could have 2 lines going to the 3. But either way, you're always going to have one line going from the 4 to the 3. Right. If you have a 5 on the side, you can always put one line in every direction as long as the 5 is on the edge, because no matter what, this side's, if you go up, you might have one line going up and then 2 lines going to the side, or it's the left side that has one line, meaning the other 2 sides has two pairs of 2 lines, or it's going down that has a single line, forcing the other 2 to have 2. Either way, you have at least one in every side. So if you see a 6 on the edge surrounded by 3 circles, you can easily put 2 lines every direction, because the max is 2 lines in each direction, and you really can't just put a single line. There's really nothing else. There is another technique where if a 3 was in the middle and it's surrounded by 1s, it is always going to have one line going to the larger number. No matter what, this is always going to be true, because you don't know if this is going to be a double line or if it's just going to connect to 2 other random ones. We really don't know until you have more clues from the puzzle. So just remember, 3 surrounded by 1s, you're always going to pick the bigger number first. If you see a 7 in the middle, you're always going to have one line and 2 lines going other directions, but we don't know which direction has that one line. So either way, you always have at least one line going in any direction, so you can put one line in all directions until you figure out where the second line goes. 8 with 2 pairs of lines in every direction. This is easily a given, so you want to look for 8s. If it's in the middle of a puzzle, look for an 8.